Hello. Happy Wednesday. Oh my gosh. I'm ready. Are you? Like, are you ready for this week to be over? Because I was ready for this week to be over last week. Happy Hump Day. Today was really slow at work, but I had to stay like the whole day, obviously. So like, it was just doing a lot of thumb twiddling. But I don't really have anything else to talk about. I had pumpkin roll with my dinner. Not for my dinner, I had leftovers for dinner, but I had pumpkin roll for dessert. It was so yummy and tasty. Because, like, pumpkin roll, I think, beats pumpkin pie, but you see it less often because it's like I'd say a medium skill level bake. It's kind of hard because you have to make, like, a Swiss roll. You have to roll it up. But the cream cheese layer is just so goddamn good. Like, I want more pumpkin roll, and there is no more. Because I only got a couple slices. It's gone. Oh well. Let's get started. Those are pretty good. I used to not like pumpkin, but now I've seen pumpkin roll. It's better than pumpkin pie, and I love pumpkin pie, but pumpkin roll just has that cream cheese bit on it. It's so good. Let's get started. I'm not gonna, well, okay, I could do the music. Keep on. Keep yawning, I'm sorry. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. My name is Kat. I'm a VTuber, variety streamer, and a little fella in your computer. This is I use she, her, they, them pronouns. You can use them interchangeably if you like. This is an 18 and up stream. I almost said 18%. This is an 18 and up stream for mature audiences only. If you're under the age of 18, you can't be here. I'm sorry. You gotta go. I don't know. You got like a scout meeting you can run off to, soccer practice. Get out of here. If you like what I do in any capacity, there are a number of ways you can support me, some of which are free. You can watch the stream, you can tell your friends, you can take clips, you can share those clips around, you can follow the stream and get access to a bunch of my emotes that you can use in my chat. If you sub, you get access to even more, and you can use them wherever you want. And, you get a cute little coffee cup badge that changes over time. And you don't get ads. I will be running scheduled ad breaks about every hour, so I can get up and walk around and get some water, and so you can do the same. But if you are subbed, you just get a little music break instead. If you want to support me directly, you don't want Twitch to touch your money, there is a button in my description that allows you to send me a tip. Tips of $5 or more get their message read by TTS. And I get 100% of it, and I will smile. But yeah, today, we're gonna do some more Ace Attorney. We're gonna pick at that bonus case some more, and hopefully make some progress on it. I'd like to finish before Halloween. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but we're gonna try. So turn this music off. I'm gonna switch screens. I'm gonna open Steam. I'm gonna click on the game. It starts with P. There it is. I would like it to show up, please. There it is. Yippee! Just a little though. Yeah. Alright. Another trial. I like the trials. Flubber! Oh! Flubber! Here, let me get him. He doesn't like to show up by himself anymore. I gotta do it for him. There we go. You're gonna need their help? Okay. I trust you. So, what do you think, Mr. Wright? I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all, the victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time. Oh, hello. and a different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana! Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday. I was indisposed. I hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning. We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. So, how'd it go? It's as Mr. Wright suspects. Police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told the truth behind this simultaneous murder, I wouldn't seek capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. But Lana, don't tell me you... Much to my regret. I'm as much in the dark about this as they are. Miss Skye. We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer J. Marshall. What kind of trace evidence? Bloodstained fingerprints, to be exact. That's the trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall? You have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Skye? Do what you have to do, Mr. Wright. Yay! Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is... I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. But that's not physically possible, is it? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared. Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. The prosecution is... Gay little finger wag. One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself. Now that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things. Even though he doesn't know what's going on himself. That's supposed to be an admirable trait? Very well. Let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand. For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. Oh god, is it Megan's again? The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer? Ooh boy. Things are getting wild from the get-go. Oh. Will the witness please state his name and occupation? Yes, sir! I am Officer Mike Meekin, sir! My occupation is, that would be murderer, sir! Okay. So you're telling us you're a professional killer? Sir, it was me, sir! I'm the one who did it! I'll never kill anyone again, sir! You've gotta believe me, sir! Actually, what we'd like to hear from you— Sir! I'm what you'd call part of the younger generation, sir! A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend! Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me, sir! Officer Meekins. Yes, sir! Give us your report of the crime. Consider that an order. Yes, sir, as you wish! After all, I'm part of a generation that must be told what to do, sir! We can't fault him for a lack of enthusiasm. Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life. Then I did it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. He's a Zoomer? Statistically, I don't think he's a Zoomer. I think he's a millennial. So, the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you? Do unto others before they do unto you! That's the Meekins family motto, sir! I see. And you fainted and a colleague helped you regain consciousness. Yes, sir! He knocked me upside the head, sir! Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. What I need here is more info to work with. Oh, I'm gonna save. Flubber told me to save. He whispered in my little ear. To always save at the cross. Like Jesus would. Flubber's very religious. Isn't it canonically taking place in 2000 or so? I don't remember when. I know it's like the future, but from the past. So it's like now-ish, right? Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not? Yes, sir! I am in charge of hiring new recruits, sir! Yikes, now there's a scary thought. Evidence transferal was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tests not ordinarily performed. I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir! The Blue Badger? Yes, sir! A lovely police mascot created by the Chief of Detectives, sir! No, it wasn't. It was created... Gumshoe made that. Oh god! I was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transferal process. Well, I guess the Chief made the Blue Badger, but Gumshoe made this thing. That was my sole mission for the day, sir! I see. Sounds like a very, important mission. Oh, sweet Lord, Edgeworth was born November 92. He's a November Scorpio, like us! We're as old as Edgeworth. Hee hee. After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around. So wait, if he's 24 in this, that means it's 2017? That I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room. Tell us, what did you see when you got there? In order to enter the evidence room. That's two antagonists were age matched too. Yeah, because Hisoka's the other one. Well, sort of, right? Except Hunter x Hunter's happening in the past. The future past. So it's like 2001 there. So if Hisoka is now... Wait. 19 plus... He'd be 50. In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct? Precisely, sir. I have one right here around my neck. So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right? Yeah, we're the same age as Hisoka if it was 2001. In which case I would be 9. There it is! I found it! This is the one right here. Could you please read us the number? Yes, sir! It's 4989596! That's my number, sir! I see. Huh? But the number 4989596 is shown as being used twice. His card was taken, I think. Please explain, witness. It's no real mystery, sir. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. And the second time is when I went to go get him after everything settled down. I see. So it was during the second time when Yes, sir! That was when I spotted the man on the security screen. Oh, well, never mind. Theory abandoned. I was only doing what I was trained to, sir. So, you were attacked. Could you please tell us exactly what happened to you? It was a knife, sir! A knife! Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you? What happened then? Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was. You weren't exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into. That's when I reacted, sir. I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. That's how I got this gash on my hand. Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be... When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. I cut a bitch, sir! What exactly do you mean when you say you did it? I know I don't look the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir. The bitch was me, sir! The man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him. Took his knife? I spun him around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man. I see. Must have been desperate. The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood, and then the next thing I knew... Yes? He punched me right in my face, sir! About what time did you regain consciousness? No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious. Oh, right. According to the report from the officer that woke up the witness, it was about 5:30. He hit me right in the head, too. I woke up crying tears of pain. That's nice. It's nice that you recovered, that is. When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir. Your mission? Yes, sir. The Blue Badger, sir. I returned him to the entrance before things got out of hand. Well, we can all rest easy now. I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened. Yes, Your Honor. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim? He's got a point. Yes, Officer Meekins. With regard to that, sir, take a look at this. It was sent to my jail cell. Chief Gant delivered it to me just this morning, sir. The chief delivered it? What is that? A videotape? Yes, sir! That's absolutely right, sir. A videotape, sir. I like how it's colored plastic, like it's a special videotape, like the green Shrek videotape. Like they went through all the trouble of getting a special video tape. It contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room. My sex tape, sir! Please, no. No, God, no. Do you think he brings the megaphone? What? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape, and was told it had been mistakenly erased. That's quite a mistake. I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at. Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever. Well then, let's have a look. Show us the video of you murdering the victim. Oh, please stop using that word murder, sir. It scares me. Video of a real murder? So what are we getting ourselves into? We're about to watch a snuff film. Oh god, the music's in here too. Wow. This looks just like 999. Hello? Glove. Look at these 3D models. Why is this camera oscillating? And why is it doing it so quickly? There's no guy here. There's just Meekins. Because that's how some security cameras... Okay, but that quickly? Yeah, that's how I feel about that. Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us? What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood? Sir, that is the pride and joy of the entire Criminal Affairs Department, sir. It's the Blue Badger, sir! Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? Wow, that was awesome. Yes, well, anyway, this tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter someone in the evidence room. Some sort of activity took place. Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness's testimony will suffice. Is that all right with you, Officer Meekins? Yes, sir. As you wish, sir. Mystery Man. His face can't be seen clearly in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. Actually, now that I think about it, that speed would probably be correct. Don't want to miss stuff while it's looking well. Yeah, but it did miss stuff. What's this about a fingerprint? Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to. Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have to have been Detective Goodman. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. And save. I gotta preserve my perfect record, you know. His face can't be seen clearly in the video. Tell me, were you able to get a good look at him? It's a trade-off. An oscillating camera gets wider range, but not at 100%, versus a fixed camera, which misses everything right outside its scope. I guess. That's why you get those ones with, like, the bubble, like the fisheye lens, so they get, like, farther range. At the face of the man who attacked you with a knife? Sir, if you must label people as having seen or not seen the man's face, I believe I would be classified as the latter? The latter? But you were standing right in front of him, were you not? More to the point, are you the person you are the person who fought him, aren't you? Oh, yes, sir, but I didn't get a clear look at his face, sir. I'm not the kind of guy who looks directly at people when talking with them, you see. Oh no, it's the autism. Yeah, that's a good trait for a police officer. Still, I'm sure it was him. I bet my badge on it. There's no question that the other person was Detective Good. Okay, you just said you couldn't fucking see. But you don't know that for sure, do you? You never actually saw Detective Goodman's face. Well, I suppose you might say that. That is, if you must label people as having seen or not seen it. Since his face can't be identified in the video, only you can verify it. Why is everyone looking at me? If I had to label your stares as disturbing or... Meekins. Having been shown a questionable video at best, we are not in the best of moods. Now, please be more certain when you testify. Yes, sir. You claimed the man who brandished a knife on you was Bruce Goodman. Tell us why you are positive it was him. About these lockers, is there no other way to open them? No, sir. I myself tried all kinds of methods in the past. They only respond to registered fingerprints, sir. I wonder what kind of methods he's tried. If the man opened the locker's lock, which only responds to his registered fingerprints, then he must be the person the locker was assigned to. Exactly my point, sir. And this too. Fun fact, eyewitness testimony is an actually awful and unreliable type of ID method. You don't say. People's memory is shit. Like, historically. How do you know that information? I've heard rumors, sir. From people in the know, sir. People in the know? The workers in the department cafeteria, sir. They keep me informed. They also listen to my romantic troubles, sir. Oh god, we don't need to hear about that. For the record, the open locker did indeed belong to Detective Goodman. I verified this information through a more reliable source. I have no game, sir! So the victim opened the locker with his own fingerprint. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. Bam. However, the most important... Wait, that's Phoenix. However, the most important detail is not shown in this video. The man's face. Sir! If I may say something, sir, you've asked me this shit like 3 times! Please do. After all, you are the one being examined. I don't understand why the man's face is so important in this case, sir. I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock. And it was his hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir. My unsettled state can testify enough to this, sir. Yes, you have a point. The footage doesn't lie. That is, unless the defense can find a problem with it. Mr. Wright, let's check the court record again. Is there a problem with the security video? Yes. Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in the particular that seems rather strange. I mean, my man just disappears. He's gone. This contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman. What? This video contains such a contradiction? I think. Does it? Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth? I propose we have the defense point out to us this alleged contradiction in the video. He would want me to point it out. I was worried about that. Very well. Proposal accepted. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us this contradiction you speak of. I have to point out a problem in the video? This is the first time I've ever had to do that. You can do it, Mr. Wright. It's set up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause the video. Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing. Please don't play it too many times. I can't stand watching this video. How did this guy ever become a police officer? Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman? Oh, God. The music continues, regardless. Okay. Oh, that looks about right. It's not the glove, is it? I have to admit, I'm not quite sure what I'm looking for. It's not the time, right? No. Wait. Yeah, he would have been in here at this point. So... okay. Was allegedly dancing in the evidence room at the time of the murder. Well, we can prove that. I'm just checking all of my stuff. My man does, like, disappear.
Take that.
Am I right? The thing that's strange about this video would have to be... oh. Hold on a second. I need to use my eye drops. Well, I don't get it. Would you mind if I borrowed your eye medicine? Don't look at me with those bleary eyes. Before your eyes get too teary, perhaps you should think this through again. Hmm? Now what do I do? Is there... I don't think there's anything weird in the video. I mean, what I thought was weird in the video is that he's alone. Assuming the witness is still willing to continue, that is. Officer Meekins? Yes, sir! It is my duty as a police officer to help the lost, sir! Great. Now they think I'm lost. Do I have anything I can... Oh, what's up, hon? You figured it out? Could you give me a hint? His hands. Oh, like in the video? The bloody hand. fingerprints. Why weren't they useful? Because of the glove. They were taken with a glove. Or they were... the person who left them was wearing a glove. Oops. How did the locker get opened? With a fingerprint, and the glove fell out. A glove fell out. I forget what I did to be able to check the video. Alright, let's watch the video again. Ow. There's a problem. Oh, wait, he was wearing a glove in the video. Was he not? Okay, we'll watch it again. We know how much you love it. We know how much you love the blue badger. We're gonna watch the tape. Okay.
Take that!
Is that it? Fuck. I know how to use the tape! Is this weird?
Take that!
Okay, yeah, there we go. Yes, that is strange. Something certainly looks unnatural about that. What could it mean? Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Wright, but you seem to have forgotten the point of this exercise. The point? What you are looking for is one thing and one thing only. Something that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman. Oh, yeah. Whew! I almost walked right into the defense's trap. I'll place him under arrest, sir! Rats. I need to slow down and tackle these things one piece at a time. Now, what do I do? Okay. So it wasn't the glove. Oh my god, shut up. Thinking only, no presenting. Okay. I'm looking with my eyes. Wait, it's already open! The light's on.
Take that!
Jesus Christ! I'm like looking at his hand. Just like the light above your head just now. Hi, maidens. Sir! Do you mean me, sir? As I understand it, the locker apparatus worked like this. Turn this music the fuck off! I am tired of it! When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint. If it's a match... Ow. The light turns on and the lock is released. According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir. If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. La 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 la. La, la, la. Oh my god, I saw it already, please. You're right, I am gonna be hearing this song in my nightmares. When the victim reaches for the handle to open the locker, let's rewind to a little earlier. Oh my god, come on! Here, notice the light? What's this? It's already lit. Yeah, I mostly remember they just milked the fuck out of this video. Well, I bet they paid a lot of money for it. Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Oh, he used the glove to, like, jimmy it open to, like, hold his spot. Order! Order! What's the meaning of this? It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered, and the locker is automatically locked. Oh, I know. It must have broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert in this. That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction. I don't know about that. Oh well, it just goes to show novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation? Me, Your Honor? Yes. Why wasn't the locker locked? Me, Your Honor? Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator? Huh? Oh, maybe something like jam the system sensor? Something jam the sensor? Say, there's something else that seems out of place in this video. Please don't make me watch it again. There's gotta be another clue somewhere in this footage. Very well. Let's inspect the video once more. Locker wasn't locked. Mr. Wright, please point out the cause for this. I'm not gonna fast forward. We have to take it all in. Gotta use our detective muscles. Wow. Technology has come so far. Okay. Ah! Wait! There we go. Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. Oh my god. Stop it! I just showed them this! I want to go home. What's this? Something white fell out from the locker. I trained for this stream by watching 10-hour YouTube videos of the Blue Badger song. No, we gotta watch again. But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are open. Look at it! Look at it! I want all of you to look at it! We can't be sure what that item was completely inside the locker to begin with. What do you mean? The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door? Inserted? Come on now. We don't even get the music this time. I think it's worse without the music. like that. This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor. Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times it gets stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. Instead of the door closing, my tie chokes me, but the object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door. Well, it's a good thing it said on the evidence, extremely thin rubber glove. Not only that, it would have to block electrical currents, like a rubber glove. It would need to be an insulator. Yes, an insulator. But at the crime scene, there just might have been something that fits the description. But sir, by insulator, you don't mean, I think I finally got this figured out. Yeah, can I say it? Very well. Will the defense please present the relevant evidence? What was this insulator that was stuck in the locker door? This glove. I found this near the locker. A thin rubber glove. Present the video. I would die. But we can't be sure if that was in the victim's locker. It has a tag that says SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker, but that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is this not so, Officer Meekins? Sir! It would appear so, sir. Order, order, order. So are we to believe then that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman? Do not be misled, Your Honor. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility, and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this. Sir! Me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir. Is this a joke? Very well, begin your testimony. Mystery Man 2. There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. Okay, he could have stolen that. An ID card record. I see. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim. Just before the crime. Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transfer. Why were there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is used only for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. There were only a few cases for transferal there. Most were cleared up by noon. Right, I see. Now let us move on to the cross-examination. This is the room for pig-on-pig violence. One other proves the man was Detective Goodman. So, unlike your earlier testimony, you believe this to be rock solid, do you? Yes, sir. Solid as stone, sir. If my hand wasn't wrapped in bandages, I'd even give you the V for victory sign, sir. Couldn't he just use his right hand for that? Let's hear him out fully. As we've seen, one never knows what he might say until the very last second. Is that card hanging from your neck one of these ID cards? Yes, sir. This card next to my cuffs, sir. I keep it here so I won't ever forget it. But what if someone were to steal it from you, keeping it out in the open like that? Fucking freshman lanyard syndrome. Maybe I shouldn't wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my tie gets stuck when I get out of my car? Well, the remaining time it's my ID card that gets stuck. Instead of the door closing, my ID card chokes me. Maybe I should just leave this one alone. At any rate, each police officer has only one ID card. Both the police department and the prosecutor's office can attest to this. Please proceed with your testimony. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. Let it be noted that this is the record the witness referred to. Let me see. Yes, that would be it. Detective Goodman. What's the matter? According to this, Mr. Edgeworth, your name is on here. So it is, Your Honor. Not that prosecutor again. Hey, maybe he's behind all this. Being a prosecutor, he could hide the evidence. Mommy, is that man in blue a murderer? Shh, don't stare at him. You've got the wrong color, kid. It would seem the inquiry committee will want to speak with you again today. I have nothing to be ashamed of regarding my actions or their consequences. For now, let us continue with the cross-examination. Poor Mr. Edgeworth. It must be so difficult for him. Earlier, I believe you testified that when you asked the man to show his ID card, he pulled a knife on you. Yes, sir. He didn't show me any ID card, sir. Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife. Maybe he just panicked. Everything stems from contradictions. Let's point them out. Mr. Wright, what do you think? I'm confused. What? The problem with this ID card testimony is far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth to miss something like this. You're thinking too hard about it. Come on, let's show them what we've got. What do I have? Well, obviously I have to present something. Ouch! Thanks. I'll take a sip right now. Where did I find Goodman's card? In the parking garage. Oh, wait. Maybe he lost it. Wait one moment, Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. That makes sense. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card. A lost item report? It's only half completed, but it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess, you think this something has to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Order! Order! So now, what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. Order! 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 Does this prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo. Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room is already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. What's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. Well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't going to end well. Well, it seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 at the day of the crime. So the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. Just so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright! You have to do something or else Lana... What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? Object, obviously. One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. I love this video so much. However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. It's such a good video. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean... Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh? Whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well then. Mr. Wright, this person whom you would have testify, what is his or her name?
Take that!
Officer, Jake Marshall. Why him? I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel like we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Very well. Court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? Oh! Oh my goodness, thank you for the sub, Yuki Joe. For 6 months! Oh my gosh! Thank you so much! We will, Your Honor. And also, hi. In a legal battle, it's important to never let the other side see your pieces. Well, I'd hope not. I think there's like a dress code and stuff. We will, Your Honor. Court is now in recess. Can I save, please? I mean, like, a to be continued? There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out. Huh? I haven't figured anything out. Lana, you're the one who knows everything. Emma, you always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? I hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Okay. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. To top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, Detective. You better be, pal. Hey. Hey! 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 I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky. That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked? Oh. Oh! Oh ho ho! Oh ho ho! Oh ho ho ho! You mean this, right? My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident? But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them. I can't believe you, the chief prosecutor, were a witness in that case. Sky was a witness? SL9 incident. Files received from Lana Sky. Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. Oh, what? Now that I've brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? Emma? But why? Why is your name in here? What? My name's in there. I don't know. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident, is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings. The Joe Dark? No. No, Lana! That's over with! No! Emma, wait! She ran away. You know what? I just remembered I gotta be somewhere else. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence. Knowing you, you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. Better take a good look at this file. And just in time, too! I got to take a break for a couple minutes, but I will play some songs for you in the meantime. Time to feed Jeff! Maybe so. But I'll see you in 3 minutes. Alright, see ya. Okay, I'm back. I know. Time to get back to the game, to the law. I hope you had a wonderful quick break. Took your meds if you needed to. Got a drink. Anything you need. Let's get back into it. Yippee! Time to watch the Blue Badger video again. I hope the fuck not. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Emma didn't come back. Hi, Emily! Welcome, welcome. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you. Wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. Me playing Red Dead. And collecting horsies. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Just jealous I found all the horses but one. No, I'm not. I'm maybe jealous that you got the cool white Arabian, but that's it. Maybe it's best we got on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. Plain old English. Not that this is England. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was a street-side saloon at the time I was at a street-side saloon at the time it went down. Just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, I think it's time I hit the trail. It's so difficult to read his lines. He just says things. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Jesus. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Well, yes, but what about the fingerprint activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines, or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Okay. Okay, so why weren't you there? How exactly do you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in front of the security camera monitor. That room's so still, even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings. Interred them? Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual was recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. Translators? The flair used in this statement should be F-L-A-I-R. So, in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. Okay, so why didn't you do your fucking job? So you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. No desperados I know join the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner, can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired? Besides, I'm protected by 2 security systems anyway. Okay, well, they didn't work. You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism? Sorry, partner, I ain't good with machines. Couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite incredible. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem like this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Spaghetti Western. Not even Angel's steak lunches can beat that parlor's vongole sepia pasta. Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope that this at least has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says, "Do you not want to raise this year?" Just a traveling man. Out of ammo, Officer Marshall? That's right, partner. Or as you'd call it, evidence. I'm kind of making him too much of a yokel. He's more of a badass. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you better draw. I've got the Meekins in me still. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness didn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I'd best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, I'd better up the ante. I feel like I should, like, the fact that he isn't doing his job feels very important. Wait. There. Because I feel like the record is important. Maybe we'll find out who 7777777 is. I'd like to know. Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence. Whoopsie. I feel like that's important, though. No. So... Okay, I guess I was just supposed to... They made it seem like there was something else I was supposed to present. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet, you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or, to be exact, a handprint. Huh, listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, that is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural, oh my gosh! Thank you for the follow, Abogado Corrupto. Welcome, welcome. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. Not in blood, my friend. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene? Sticky. The blood was wiped away, however. A luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? Seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the bloodstain... Oh, about the bloodstained fingerprints? Fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the bloodstained handprint. Murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See? I had nothing to do with it. Well? The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something, I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. That's because you, how did you say it? Pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. No, it's not. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. Oh, this locker. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently, his fingerprint data was never removed from the locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. One of them just happened to be the same. So then, what about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine. It's no mystery. Please explain. My locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened. I mean, that's kind of unlikely. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. Chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? I doubt that. Unrelated? They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's gotta do with breakfast while the other's a type of murder. He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different. I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. How did you know that? How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a blood stain at the scene thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean murderer, wearing gloves, happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood. In the desert, it's just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. Security tape. Please don't make me watch it again! So long as my trail isn't in there. Can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully what you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner? I don't know. Was it you? What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculation, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do okay, I guess. I'm looking at the video again. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright. Might wind up being the one making the mistake. Alright, let's look at the video again. I was checking to see if the bloodstain was still there. Yeah, it would be right behind him, wouldn't it? Fuck. Scared me. There was something hanging out of his locker when we saw it. Is that something I can present? Is that gonna count? There, how's that for evidence? Please allow me to apologize for my colleague here. Oh. He gets carried away sometimes. Yes, well, this certainly isn't a first. Will you forgive him too, Officer Marshall? He's not a bad man, just a bit disillusioned. Of course, I'm not one to gun down unarmed boys. Oh great, now Edgeworth is defending me. Guess that means I missed the mark. Fuck! But There was like a hanky in there. Time to watch this again. Ah! Fuck. Okay, I found it. What? I'm so mad. I'm so pissed. I was right. Oh my god. I'm so mad. Show evidence. No. There. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Fewer. It's fewer. You can count the words, so it's fewer. Use fewer when you can count the things that you're quantifying, and when you can't count them, you use less. Thank you. Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. Right there! That locker with the white cloth sticking out? That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Absolutely maddening. Epic. Oh, the white cloth. It's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then, it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order! Order! It would seem that's the only— Hold your horses! Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was opened? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Well, no. Why's everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say I opened that locker. Now prove it. Fingerprint sensor. We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Witches! Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Jerky? I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! What? No? What in tarnation is a fingerprint? Order, order, order! Witness, explain yourself! If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Where'd you get that jerky? Olay! Please answer the question. What the fuck? What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion is that he was dressed as him. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the... Right here. Beep. Officer Marshall was standing right here. So Officer Meekins didn't notice him standing there. No. That's almost as credible as Meekins' warp theory. Chamber's empty, partner. What? Perhaps you should think a little more about where Officer Marshall was. Officer Meekins should have seen him in the evidence room. That means the only place he could have been would be... Well, now I don't know, because I thought that I was right. I thought he was, like, dressed up as Goodman. I think you hit the K spot. K for killer. Oh! Sorry, I was jumping too far ahead in the story. Meekins is the killer. Yeah, I was thinking too far ahead. There, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in this video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins didn't know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me! Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on this ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? Got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I was dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. You already said that. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. This can't be happening. Meekins is... yeah. Oh wait, I read that already. What the fuck? It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. Basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside of the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. Rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as... Hang on. Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered— Of course it's the video! Why wouldn't it be the video? We gotta watch that video again. I don't have any evidence, so the video's my only shot. Very well. Let's take yet another look at the security tape. We're saving. I can't do it again. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. Yippee! Okay, we're not gonna click on anything. Just gonna watch the tape. Dropped my glove. Stabby. He had Meekins' blood on him. I mean, that's kind of something, right? Oh, I have to go all the way to the end. Oh, God. Yes, for some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked. The white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, y'all wouldn't have to have been here now would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. Alright. Seems the time has come. Cool. Awesome. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. Managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. Wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Okay, time to save again. When you say it, you mean... Hands do be full of blood, they do, depending on where you cut them. Do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why I stole the detective's ID and dressed like it. Your hands be full of snacks, maidens? What kind of snacks? I was talking about it at the start of stream, but I had some pumpkin roll. It was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome and epic, if I don't say so myself. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. That's not where that belongs! The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So, essentially, all the cookies that you stole from the cookie jar, they're crime hands. So, essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins and knocked him out. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. Unless you melt him off at work conveniently before you need fingerprint. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a 1 in a million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his race this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. Sorry it had to turn out that way. With me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So you knocked Officer Meekins out and managed to escape. I knew which areas were caught on camera. So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is, on that day, there wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker. Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID? Injuring a police officer? This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. Cops are held to high standards in this universe. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. Can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why? No. Let's ask. But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is that he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's why I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I better take another look at the files. Okay, time to take a look at the files. Perpetrator Joe Dark. Crime, serial murder, sentence death. Victims, Edward Jones. Oh! They're his brother. Head prosecutor Miles Edgeworth, witnesses. Lana Sky, Emma Sky. Okay. Okay, here we go. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard that name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? Must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed. The case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. Aw, man. I'm sorry. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, the then Deputy Chief of Police. Yep, there he is, right there. Group of detectives I was part of worked under them, desperate to prosecute the killer. That guy. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me! Okay. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No, it hasn't. Who killed Goodman? No murder took place at the police department that day. Things that happened by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than just that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder is in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky. But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But There's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved. No doubt about it. No, they haven't. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Starr is completely uncontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Arg! I rest my case. No! It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I saw proved yesterday is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. Oh my god, it's Emma. Your Honor! Wait! Emma! The defense has an objection. A scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, in a sense. Please, Your Honor. All I'm asking for is a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. Now that she mentions it, the names of both Skye sisters were in that file. But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. So did you find something? No! Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not that much of a scientific investigator after all. Okay. Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them... Please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright, with regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. I mean, it is pretty troubling. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be... Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If I ever needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? I object. Nobody's talking about the big old puddle on the floor. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something that hasn't been drawn on here? Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. There's evidence here. There's gotta be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plans? This one? As they say back west, even a blind man can hit with buckshot. That is, so long as he's facing the general direction. It seems Mr. Wright's not sure which direction to face. It's no use. The more evidence there is, the greater the chance of me being wrong. Oh, Jesus. Try and remember what the evidence room is like on the day of the crime. What is it that bothers me about this blood mark? Please allow me another chance, Your Honor. I'll prove it this time. Watch the video again? Oh my god. Really? Don't present. I'm not gonna present the video. I'm gonna watch. How could anybody have touched that locker if the badger was in front of it? By the way. Like, would they have to walk around it? Is it directly in front of Gumshoe's locker? I have a suspicion. It's also not there. What about that piece of plywood? He's gonna save the day! The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Yeah. Well, what? That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker. So that means, just exactly what does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me, I didn't put it there. Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. Emma, on that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in. Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, with the lead pipe, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's what I thought. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. Okay. When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right. The blood mark on this locker proves it. Very well. Then tell us. When did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? Okay. I know the answer to this, but I'm really sorry. I have to run I have to run an ad. So I actually have to go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna take care of that. So you get to sit in suspense for 3 whole minutes. I am so sorry. Here we go. Guys, you're not gonna believe this. Frog Detective 3 just came out. It's $5. I need a minute. I need it! Am I keeping you from something? Sorry, give me a second. I have to type in this PayPal code. Yay! I have a frog game now. Anyway. Back to the game. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, this thing. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card? Oh! The ID card record! Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Ah! Ah! Miles Edgeworth! Just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 7777777. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 7777777. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 777777777. That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least, at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 7777777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous. Just how... I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yes? No, not to you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Her own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number. And it's not 7777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Uh-oh. Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Lana! I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. Before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye, and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence. Uh-oh. It's awful quiet in here. See, that's what I'm talking about. No. No! Order! 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 Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The case would have to wait until the following day. To be continued. Yay! Investigation! Fuck, I hate this! Okay. I'm gonna play Detective Frog. This feels longer than the entire rest of the game. This is going on forever! I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. I just read this. Could. It's the crime that never ends. I want it to stop. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. It's like everyone's heard about these killings but me. It's because we had to watch the video over and over. Yeah. Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you... Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Jake trial. I didn't see that one coming. Oh, well, gotta talk about it then. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day. Unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage. But before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck, and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture? What did you see in the instant that crime occurred? Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. You've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago, I must have been 14. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies. And find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. See, I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. Rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true, even though he may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective offices in the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective? I'd better have another talk with her. To the detention center! Away! Lana! Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul, why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details? Especially about that unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today. Not the least of which is the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana, what the witness, Miss Starr, said. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so fazed before. It's true, I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing! They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant? He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever! They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed! Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes, so you could do that use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police. Arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Right. Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office, the same investigations. They even had the same office. He led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana. It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. Jesus Christ, Dark! Oh my god. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seemed Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Drake, where's the murderer? Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her, after all her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident? That's right. Quite a coincidence, I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident. Just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself. The Chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the Chief's office. The site of the final SL9 murder. Okay, let's go. I don't think this is the right place. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere. Things seem kind of quiet around here today. Right. Chief Detective seems the same, though. Why don't we go look for some other people to talk to? Right. We can come back here later. There we go. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall! I never thought things turned out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera, sera. Never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go into the evidence room today, partner. But Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why did prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about it, it's that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me, either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean, fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. Murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's, all right. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there's a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, the possibility had been erased. Facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the SL9 incident left behind. There's something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Skye. The investigation lead, Damon Gant, and his second-in-command, Lana Skye. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. The case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah. Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Lana's secret. It all started 2 years ago. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he, your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the King of Prosecutors? I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right. It was the day of the evidence transferal. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning. By nightfall, there was thunder. Can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so that case wouldn't die. Apparently, someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. So there you have it. That's my story. Do you enjoy it, partner? Certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. Someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I wouldn't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you. You become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. There he goes. Wait. Oh, I guess I'd go in here? No one's here today. Not even Miss Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking into exactly what went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. But we proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 p.m. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway on our case. But instead, it looked like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Farewell, Cat's Texan impression. I tried, okay? But I get tired of doing the voices sometimes. And I may have just purchased a $5 cowboy game that involves detective work and frogs. Where in the heck? I thought I was supposed to go to the chief's office. Like, where is it? Mr. Edgeworth isn't here. Maybe he's being questioned by an inquiry committee. He took a real beating in court today. Yeah, with Lana admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago. Guess we'll just have to come back later. Okay. No. I kind of like immediately forgot what we were talking about, which is probably like a bad thing. Oh, hey, wait, here we go. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention her statement to the media in tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. Okay. What the fuck? Hello? What is that? Why does he have a pipe organ? Whoa, where am I? Oh shit, he's got like a super ergonomic chair. Hey, it's the organ Ganon used in Ocarina of Time. I just wonder what Ganon's up to. In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. Okay, that's weird. I thought I was a genius until they started teaching me the notes. I never could remember where C was. Oh, please. Come on now. Hi. Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, Righto, have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct. Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence. 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. Hey, it's that fucking ugly-ass vase. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh, but this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Neat. Looks like we aren't welcome. It seems that case isn't over with yet after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean, like a clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Hey, pal! Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long? Actually, from serving everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Hey, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battles between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye is the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, a prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now, with this, Are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies. Hey, Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. Seems like you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. For all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Dark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl? B. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with a murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Okay. Here you go. About this. Hey, is that... It has a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker and was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. That's it! Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again. This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at. Plus, it had his fingerprints on it, too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well, anyway. Take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet. Down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. Businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. With his car? So, it was an accident? An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. An animal? He killed a man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed a lady who saw the second crime. A kid walked by just then, so he killed him too. And when he's burying bodies, the jogger came up upon the scene and killed him as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. It wasn't a single shred of evidence. So, he turned himself in. Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim, Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Dark was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness, aka Emma. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant. It's not money, but it does concern the Chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The chief's out now, and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around if that's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. What? Really? But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. That won't work either. Data was deleted the day he died. Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office. I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind. Okay, that wasn't it. My badge. Detective, here's my attorney's badge. You show this to me every time we meet, pal. Real men show their police badge. Enough said. I wish I had a badge. Even an ID card would be nice. This ID card belongs to the victim, Detective Bruce Goodman. You can do just about anything these days with a card and a secret number. Scary. It's only scary because you keep dropping your card, Detective Gumshoe. I forget my secret number a lot, too. I'm scared of myself. But I'm me, after all, and what could be wrong with that? Dick creeps people by whipping it out. Okay, so real talk. I'm falling asleep. I think I might have to stop, just because I can't make the gears turn in my head, and my eyes are closing. I can't do it. I'm sorry. We can pick this back up tomorrow because I have more leftovers. Yay! And hopefully then we'll be done, and then we can play Frog Detective 3. And then, I don't know. But it's okay. We'll find the truth. We'll solve the case. We'll figure it out. I'm sorry, I'm crashing. I'm dying, help me. I'm sure Socks is still streaming. Socks. X. Yes. We'll do it for the Blue Badger. Socks right now is streaming. Oh, Bloppy, hi! I'm leaving. I'm ending the stream. I'm sending you back to Socks. I'm sorry. But, because I'm falling asleep in my chair. What do we want to say to Socks? Right now, Socks is making, custom cards for their, tabletop. Well, it's a card game. It's called God Game. It's really insane and intense and awesome. But, right now, he's taking submissions to make new cards. Do it for the Blue Badger? Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. I'm kind of sad because, like, I wanted to see my card be made because I painted a picture for it. And I really hope that it elicited... Is that... How do you have that? Oh, Bloppy, how do you have that emote? This is God Game, by the way. How do you have Socks be Daffy? Don't you need, like, a ton of bits for that? Okay, let's go harass Socks some. Not harass, don't be weird. It's tier 3. Damn! Got the big bucks. Okay. Let's go Sea Socks. This is the raid phrase. Let's do it for the Blue Badger. The bits one is Socks Be Real. That one's scary. Okay, let's go!